Some people have labeled Ed Gein as America's most notorious psychopath, but this is only true in part. Gein's fame or notoriety is actually seen in his influence of popular culture. It could be argued that Ed Gein is America's most influential psychopath, because of his impact on the horror film industry. To call him the most notorious, though, seems to assume that Gein is well known and synonymous with the term serial killer in the consciousness of Americans. Such an assumption is an oversimplification and requires some additional examination. The general American public is generally ignorant when it comes to the actual person Ed Gein. Nonetheless, many of these same people have been influenced in one way or another by Gein's exploits, largely through popular culture. What do we know about Gein, and how does what we know tell us about his impact on popular culture? We know that Gein was a truly disturbed individual. Gein was able to avoid prison because he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but he was also diagnosed as a sexual psychopath. The problem with the latter designation is that it ignores the impact that Gein's relationship with his mother had on his activities. The primary difference between a psychopath and a sociopath is how they are created. It is generally believed that the psychopath is born as such. Criminologist Scott Bond spells this out in his Psychology Today article, in which he notes that it usually boils down to the nature versus nurture argument. While the psychopath is born with psychopathic tendencies, the sociopath is the result of nurture. According to Bond, sociopathy, on the other hand, is more likely the product of childhood trauma and physical, emotional abuse. Gein had a complex relationship with his mother that clearly fueled his later activities as an adult. His mother's unhealthy obsession with sexual morality and her attempt to keep Ed from engaging in any impure activities may have pushed him to focus on sexual gratification through his killings and his body-snatching activities. Nonetheless, Gein did display psychopathic tendencies that make him hard to categorize as one or the other. Ed was able to assimilate into society enough to not be considered a psychopathic by those who knew him, but was more of a loner later in life as his urges got the better of him. At the end of the day, it's probably best to not try to nail Gein down as one or the other. This is, furthermore, reason to see him as the prototype of the American serial killer. He is what people think of when you use the term, even if they don't know his name or his actual story.